Hello everyone, welcome to the Ginger Snaps here. We'll be discussing horror movies with you guys in a very blunt way. I am your host, Steven Harrold, and in today's video I will be giving you guys my review for Army of Darkness, which was released in 1992, starring Bruce Campbell. As you guys already know from the previous two videos I had done on the Evil Dead franchise, I'm covering all the Evil Dead films that were given theatrical releases leading up to Evil Dead Rise, which is going to be released this Friday. Now, of course, the third film in this whole entire franchise essentially takes quite a turn, as we all know that at the end of Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, Ash Williams is sent back to the medieval times, and that's where it is left. And this movie starts off with that, him in the medieval times and looking to go back home. So, with this kind of a film, a lot of people do tend to like it, and a lot of people just have this great appreciation for it. So what do I personally think of it? Well, this is for you guys to watch and listen as I give you guys my review for Army of Darkness. For the story of Army of Darkness, as we all know, Ash Williams has been sent back to the medieval times where he is captured and essentially is about to get fucking killed until he proves his worth. He's more superior than the people around him and in that time, obviously, and is searching for the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon, so he can go back to his original time. But of course, shit kind of goes bad for him at that rate. Now, with this movie's story, of course, it's kind of a step down in a weird way with, the last two films, because now it's kind of like a fantasy adventure type of film, but of course horror related as well. But when I watch this movie, I can obviously tell that this movie really amped up the comedy aspects, and it really shows in this film. Now, with its story, I think it only made sense that there are comedic tones to this, and it works for the film, especially for the character of Ash Williams. But the one thing I do have to say is that it is such a departure from the first two films that it kind of does sit as like the oddball of the franchise, especially leading up to the next film I'll have to review next. But other than that, the story is a pretty solid one, and I do get a kick from it from time to time when I watch it. As for our protagonist, Ash Williams is back, of course, and this is the movie where everyone fucking knows about Bruce Campbell's amazing delivery of Ash Williams as this self-centered badass asshole in a way. And this movie really shows it. He understands he's a lot more superior than the rest of the people who are around him, and he's just very eccentric about it. And of course, he has that one task he has to do, which is find the Necronomicon. But of course, at the same time, he's kind of just enjoying himself in a way. But I just love his character so much that a lot of people, even in the horror genre, just love the character of Ash Williams because of Bruce Campbell. No one can ever touch Bruce Campbell's performance as Ash Williams. That's why, as we all know, when the remake did come out, we were all kind of skeptical if they were going to just, remake it with a different Ash. But of course, that's for another video for another time. But like I said, Bruce Campbell's performance as Ash Williams still knocks it out of the park. I do slightly like his performance in this movie better than Evil Dead 2, but definitely more than the first film, Evil Dead. So, other than that, no problems with the protagonist in this film. As for the antagonist, as we all know, it's the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead. But of course, in this movie, there's a lot more going to it. I mean, we have little miniature Ashes. We have Bad Ash, which is an amazing fucking scene with the whole I'm Bad Ash and you're Good Ash, and I feel like Bruce Campbell had fun with that one. And of course, Bad Ash ends up becoming like the leader of the Army of Darkness in a way, and he's all fucked up. He looks all just skeletoned up, and he looks menacing. Bruce Campbell had to pull double duty when it came to those two characters of Ash Williams and the leader of the Army of Darkness. Now, of course, we do get like the Clash of the Titans type of thing where there's skeletons being roamed around and they're a part of this army. It looks a little bit better than Jason and the Argonauts, obviously. And I honestly have to say that with the stop motion animation and some of the practical effects for the Army of Darkness, works pretty well. The only thing I have to say when it comes to this movie is that, and oddly enough, it has to do with this franchise, is there's not one particular antagonist that you kind of have to gravitate to until this movie came out, which finally had Bad Ash becoming the leader of the Army of Darkness, and it shows very well. Now, other than that, when it comes to the rest of the other bad guys in the whole entire movie, I dig it. It's actually not too bad. The other thing about this movie that really kind of did get more amped up was either the camera angles or the special effects. Now, this movie's special effects were a lot better than the previous film, of course, 1992. Now, the thing about it is, does it feel dated? Maybe some of the green screen aspects of it. You know which scene I'm talking about, guys, where the girl says, "You once found me beautiful, love, once," and he's like, "Lady, you got real ugly." You could tell that green screen is like that ages this movie a little bit more. But other than that, when it came to the special effects, like I said about the antagonists, the skeletons army, literally hold up pretty good. And when it comes to the gore, there's not really that much gore. I mean, besides the whole geyser of blood that shoots out from that fucking hole, which to this day I still wonder what caused that, because it couldn't have been the thing that was in the fucking hole waiting for Ash. But other than that, the special effects and the gore and the blood, yeah, barely any blood in the movie, but the gore and the special effects still work to this day. And honestly, it's one of the things that gives it that fucking amazing charm about this film. Of course, there is definitely one negative in this movie, and I'm sorry that I have to even say there's a negative to this. It's the campy, comedic overtones. There is just way too much of it in this movie. I know that this is kind of blasphemy to say, but I feel like Army of Darkness became a parody of the Evil Dead franchise. That's why a lot of people do look at it as the black sheep. I mean, like, when you put them in chronological order, Evil Dead 2, and then all of a sudden you got the 2013 Evil Dead, and now you're going to get this Evil Dead Rise movie. Army of Darkness is in its own category, especially if you're doing it alphabetically, because it's like it matches it. The comedic overtones in this movie do kind of not land for me, but I mean, when some of them do, they do. It's just I feel like with this movie, what it did was it got away from the horror aspects of the franchise and just brought more comedy in. And that was the one thing I think, to me, it was just one of the things that was kind of the letdown in a way. Like, it's still like kind of funny in certain scenes, but I just can't help but even just notice that the movie's comedy is just a little too much for my liking. Now, of course, as we all know, with the ending, Ash does eventually defeat the Army of Darkness. He does go back in time, where we see the scene where he's like, "Shop smart, shop S smart." And he's confronted by another fucking deadite and shoots the shit out of that thing, and then grabs the girl and says, "Hail to the king, baby," and kisses her. Every time I hear the words "Hail to the king, baby," I think of fucking Duke Nukem, okay? I just think of Duke Nukem. But yeah, the movie ends just like that. He goes back home and he, lives his life, but I guess his life is not quite good because the Deadites are still around. As for this ending, it's kind of like you're happy to see that Ash is back in his own time, but at the same time, they still added a little bit too much comedic stuff for the ending for my liking, and it kind of feels like a deflated ending. Like, I mean, like, you had the ending in the first movie, which is like Ash is attacked by the forces of the dead, and then of course the second film's ending is him in medieval times. So it's like, okay, well, what's this payoff? And for some odd reason, it's like there should have been a better payoff than this. But other than that, ending is still not too bad. I just wish it could have been maybe a little bit better. Of course, Army of Darkness is one of those movies that a lot of people do love and cherish a lot. And of course, a lot of people do tend to rewatch Army of Darkness. I do tend to watch it myself from time to time. Now, like, Ash Williams is at his best in this movie. The special effects in this movie are still top notch. It's just I wish some of the comedy was taken out of the movie because it was the one thing that kind of dragged and felt like it was too forced, and it was also just too much of it there. And I wish the ending was just maybe a little bit better. But other than that, Army of Darkness is still a classic nonetheless. Came out on my birth year too. But it's a movie, even though for its flaws, I will still watch it from time to time. Anywho, for my rating, I'm going to give Army of Darkness a 6.5 out of 10. So tell me guys, what do you guys think of Army of Darkness? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you also hit that thumbs up and also subscribe for more content. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can get notified about all the other videos coming out on this channel. Anyways guys, that's it for me. This has been the Ginger Snaps here. I am Steven Harrold, and I will talk to you guys later, and remember, stay spooky.